Good morning, guys. Happy Thursday. So, raining, but no bad weather here last night. A little bit of wind and stuff, but we were spared again. So, but prayers to all those of you in the Memphis area, Arkansas, Mississippi, everything like that, around West Tennessee, who got hit pretty hard yesterday. I already got an email from one of you guys about 70-foot tree coming down. So that being said, keep the folks out there in your prayers because it was a tough night. All right. So what I want to talk about today is something else we need to prepare for, and it's the other war on the southern border. Now, to give you this, believe it or not, Mexico does import more than just illegal drugs and illegal aliens to the United States. Though that seems to be the majority of it. We also do get things like produce and computer parts and car parts and stuff like that from Mexico. Now, I know everybody's got a good laugh out of the bus arriving in Washington, D.C. yesterday with the illegals that Greg Abbott bussed up to Washington, D.C. Yeah, it's a good thing. Put them on Joe's doorstep, if you will. But remember, these people have to volunteer to go up there. So, all in all, what we're doing is helping them. It's like, hey, I've got friends that are in Boston, in Baltimore, in New York, family, whatever it is. If they'll give me a free bus trip 3/4 of the way, hell, I don't have to walk all that. Okay, so while I understand the premise to it, it's not like we're doing anything to solve the problem. Now, however, the fact that all of a sudden these towns and counties that have been having problems with Biden dropping off illegals in the middle of the night are saying that there's no more people coming, that's a good thing. All right. But at least it's drawn some attention to it. And I'm a firm believer in do something crazy to draw attention to something, and people have a tendency to listen. You hear some of the comments I make and they're totally out there, but all of a sudden you're like, hey, that makes sense, when you get to the real point of it. But the one that's going to affect us more is the trucker blockade, if you will. And again, I completely agree with Governor Abbott. Do not misunderstand that for 1 second here. There are miles and miles and miles of trucks that are backed up into Mexico that are waiting to cross the border because Abbott has ordered Border Patrol to basically do a full inspection of all the trucks. So this is, if you've ever crossed the Mexican border, okay, when you go through the border control, they'll ask you, do you have anything to declare, any produce, any alcohol, anything like that? And if you don't, you just say no, and most of the time they just let you go on your way, okay? With trucks, it's relatively similar. Let me look at your manifest. Okay, the manifest says you're hauling bananas. Okay, fine. Anything else on there? Show me your weigh tickets, and poof, off and running you go. Well, now it's got a little different. Now they are stopping every truck and putting it through a full inspection. Open up the doors. Let us crawl through here. We want to look, make sure you're not bringing in drugs, make sure you don't have illegal aliens, everything like that. And that takes time, okay, and manpower, which of course we know we're short of. Now, of course, Mexico's bitching. Of course, Biden's bitching and everything. All these trucks are backed up. Stuff's not getting here. And yes, produce is spoiling on the trucks as these trucks are waiting to come across the border. But sorry, that's life. Now, there is one border town that has agreed to work with Abbott, Nuevo Leon, and that border's open. Why? Because the Mexicans are doing something about making sure there's no drugs and no illegals coming across. So how does this affect us? Well, think of any of the produce that you get from Mexico. Avocados. Don't even get me started in the fact that we export California avocados to Mexico, but then we import Mexican avocados to the United States. Don't even get me started on that. But a lot of your fruit crops, some of your vegetable crops and stuff, especially the ones we're eating right now, are coming from south of the border. Okay, and it's not just from Mexico. I mean, they may be coming from Chile, or they may be coming from, South America, anything like that. Who knows? All right, and they're not putting them on FedEx planes and bringing them up. They're on trucks and being driven up. Obviously, the only way you're getting to the United States is through Mexico. So expect to pay a hell of a lot more in the near future for produce. Again, got a garden growing? Yes, I understand there's 3 feet of snow in North Dakota and you're not getting a whole lot of gardening right now. But that being said, now, other stuff, car parts. This one we've talked about for months on end, all the channels, not just me. I remember Prepper Now coming up and saying he just went out and bought a spare set of tires for his car, okay, because of the supply chain debacle. So now, whether you know it or not, guys, there's still a ship back up in California, okay? It doesn't get talked about anymore, but there's still hundreds of ships waiting to get unloaded in Port of Los Angeles, Port of Long Beach, okay? Now you've also got the problem coming up through the southern border. Car parts are going to be harder and harder and harder to find. Why wasn't inflation numbers as bad as everybody thought the other day? Well, they were bad, but I mean, used car prices actually came down. And guess what? We got car part problems. Guess where used car prices are going back up? They're going back up. Why? Because when somebody trades in a car, chances are there's something wrong with it, and whoever buys it's got to fix that, okay, which means they need parts. Okay? Computer parts. Need something for your laptop, for your tablet, for your phone, want any sort of microphone or anything like that. A lot of that stuff comes from Mexico. Maybe made in China, but it's assembled in Mexico or whatever it would be. The part, just because the parts come from China doesn't mean the assembly is done there. A lot of assembly is done in Mexico. Think of car brands, Ford, Chevy, having plants down in Mexico, okay? Those cars that you think the lots are empty now, you got an 18-wheeler hauling a bunch of cars across the border, and he's stuck 720 trucks back in line. It's a lot longer till that makes it to the dealership. We're going to see pain because of this. And honestly, I'm not worried about it. And I'll give you my exact reason why. Remember when Biden came out and said, and some of the European countries came out and said that, if you're paying more for gas, what you're doing is you're hurting Putin. Okay, that was his belief, right? Well, if I'm paying more for avocados, that means I'm potentially hurting the illegal alien trade. There's a caravan of 140,000 people heading up to the United States right now, guys, because of Title 42. We need to do anything we can as a country to stop this from happening, all right? The Biden administration is welcoming Ukrainians in with open arms, welcoming in Afghanis with open arms, welcoming in Central and South Americans with open arms. No paperwork, just, hey, you want to be here, okay? Again, you think about what 5 million people, 6 million people, 7 million people is, what the end of Title 42 is going to bring to the United States. That's like adding a Chicago to the United States. Yeah. Big city, right? It's about the population of the city of Chicago. And we're going to add that in a year. Where are they all going to go? Some little town in Texas, some little town in New Mexico is going to wind up a hopping metropolis. Well, I won't say hopping because, there's only so many strawberry farms and lettuce farms to pick from. But yeah, Greg Abbott, keep going. Preppers, keep your eyes open, because this is another thing that is going to hit us in the wallet, but we have a way to kind of work around it. Have a good one. Pinball out.